to the Transition Assignment in Nursing for 495, Transition Shock Theory and My Experience Integrating into Registered Nursing Practice by Nicole Collins. My goal is that within 6 months of working as a registered nurse, I will utilize my survival tool plan effectively to reduce the intensity of transitional shock. Within this survival plan, I will incorporate shift work sleep habits that research states aids to achieve adequate rest-wake balances and decreases the negative effects of disrupted circadian rhythms associated with shift work. My plan will also aim to support optimal balanced nutrition shown to improve shift worker health outcomes. Additionally, my tools will include making time to incorporate exercise and social engagements to solidify a foundation that is well-rounded, a foundation to assist in the management of my difficulties with the transitional shock into the role of becoming a registered nurse working independently after graduation from the nursing program. So hopefully you will find this effective in informing you of transitional shock. Transitional shock is best expressed to me through this visual figure of the transitional shock model found in the research by Judy Duscher, 2009. Transition shock theory, as depicted here, shows how the foundations of knowledge, responsibilities, relationships, and roles influencing a nurse, and all persons really. Physical, emotional, intellectual, and socio-developmental categories are listed, each defining in detail how these areas are impacted by transition shock. Some of the outcomes negatively associated with transition shock are loss, confusion, disorientation, and doubt, as noted in the center. As I identified in the animated presentation, my immediate areas of concern are maladapting to shift work and role confusion, shown here as role uncertainty and of unfamiliarity. So far, I have found solutions for most of my role confusion, yet struggle to achieve adaptation to shift work as it affects my family life, my sleep-to-wake cycles, and my health. As I identified in my SMART goals and briefly in my presentation, I have a survival toolkit that is assisting me in the transitioning into a shift worker so that I can function appropriately and safely as a nurse and human. The Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety cites rotational shift work as a reality for about 25% of North Americans, noting interest in the study of the effects of shift work as it is linked to human error causing sometimes catastrophic accidents or incidents. Its information also addresses the research I have reviewed with you previously in my VOCI presentation regarding circadian rhythm disruption and its negative health outcomes, which result in increased number of incidents regarding human error in the workplace. As we are working with people, I feel this is of the utmost importance to be educated on and to implement systems that reduce risk to myself and others. To do this, I have built off what research states as effective strategies in best shift work health practices. The Leeds, Greenfield, and Lanark District Health Unit had some handy cards on their website to offer information in areas that I was specifically interested in. And rather than reinvent the wheel, I have used some of their information from these cards as some of the guidelines for my survival tools. Here, Isabella will demonstrate some of the negative and then the positive survival tool practices I have implemented. OH&S cites nutrition as a key to getting your metabolism more stable on night shift. Here we see an example of what not balancing nutrition can look like. Simple carbohydrates, high-fat or deep-fried foods, and highly caffeinated drinks top the list of the avoidables. HealthUnit.org states high-protein, high-fiber, complex carbohydrates, high-vitamin-containing foods as the priority for optimal balanced nutrition for shift workers. And don't forget your fluids, water it up. If caffeine is required, have it as early as in your shift as possible to allow the body to flush and return to a state ready for rest when it is time to hit the pillow. Some of the sample menu items for day shift include balanced breakfast, a main meal at lunch, work break snacks, and after shift a low-fat carbohydrate with no caffeine if you're still hungry. Night shift states that when you wake, a balance of protein and carbohydrate-rich foods with fruit and vegetables will help to wake you up. Your main meal should consist of not only balanced protein, but carbohydrate and fiber-rich foods with fruit and vegetables. Your first work break, if hungry, should also contain some sort of high-fiber carbohydrate. Your second work break should have a bit more of a balance of protein along with fruits and vegetables. And if you need a pick-me-up snack around that 3 to 4 a.m., a protein-rich food. After shift, if you're still hungry, a low-fat carbohydrate and absolutely no caffeine is recommended to help you drift off to sleep. It's recommended by OH&S to make meals in large batches and freeze the leftovers to take to work. And at work, eat in a relaxing environment with other coworkers and enjoy eating. It's also recommended to have your snacks and meals proportioned, ready to go for shift work so that you can make the most of the time you have on your precious breaks. Now that you have the fuel, make sure you are using it wisely. Matheson's literature review finds lack of exercise as a contributing factor to fatigue. The research shows the importance of maintaining an exercise regime as a useful coping strategy to fatigue and stress, which to improve circadian rhythm phase and amplitude regarding sleep. The research also notes a reduction in musculoskeletal injuries in female nurses and nursing aides that exercise regularly. The key for myself in exercise is variation. Alternating yoga, cardio, and bodyweight training keeps me feeling sane. Till now, we have evaluated the survival kit regarding its nutrition and exercise areas. A few other factors to remember are social activity and stress reduction. For me personally, exercise is my greatest stress management tool. However, additionally, I have intermittently used meditation to enhance mind and body relaxation, calming the mind after a wild night in order to prepare for a restful sleep is not always easy. HealthUnit.org noted that personal social interactions with friends and family can take your mind off work stress and recommends having a few minutes of debriefing time after shift to review and analyze the ongoings and then choosing to consciously put it aside until preparing for the next shift. This is easier said than done some days, something I am striving toward in my progression, no doubt. Last but not least, in my survival kit I have sleep. Sleep matters. OH&S, HealthUnit.org, and Matheson et al. All agree that while everyone needs a different number of hours, 6 to 8 is best for preventing fatigue, both mentally and physically. The research says, have a ritual. A bath or hot shower and a stretch before bed, and potentially exercise or another stretch upon waking will prepare the body for what comes next and get it in a routine to do so. If having trouble sleeping, utilize deep breathing, create a quiet, comfortable, calm, and sleeping environment with a temperature around 20 degrees. Make the room as dark as possible, especially during day sleeping, and blackout shades or blinds are recommended. HealthUnit.org recommends to turn the ringer off on your phone, avoid alcohol or sleeping pills if possible, and I find tart cherry juice works for me. For night shift, OH&S recommends a nap if not exceeding 2 hours prior to preparing for shift. As we have identified, transitional shock is the doing part of the transitional theory that requires a restructure of one's emotional, physical, intellectual, and socio-developmental aspects of one's life. I have identified my biggest areas for concern and introduced the strategies in my first survival toolkit to assist me in achieving a more educated and potentially, hopefully, more successful transition into registered nursing. I expect to continue to see improvements in my areas of focus with shift work as time and experience provide me a vast working knowledge through this transition shock stage. There needs to be thanks granted to the Red Deer College instructors for recognizing the gap in transitional support in the workforce and placing this project where it can create the awareness of how we as nurses face this current taste of transition shock and will continue on a deeper level to experience it in full force in the next few short weeks, months, through our first year. Thank you very kindly for listening. Please see my reference list for any ideas and items you might be interested in, and have a wonderful day.
The end.